Hello, welcome back to another episode of Exposing D&D 5e Monsters live with me, Andrew. I was supposed to be live streaming on the past Saturday, but unfortunately, due to life getting in the way and some more important things needing to be taken care of, I wasn't able to actually do the live stream on the Saturday as people have been requesting through the polls. If you haven't seen the polls, go ahead and take a look at my community tab on my channel's page, and you'll be able to scroll down a little bit. I don't remember exactly what dates those are, but you can vote on those. I think they should still be open. And, voice your opinion on when you'd like to see live streams. I will probably repost these polls again once we hit 2,000 subscribers and see what the next group of people would like to see for live stream times. As it stands right now, Mondays will be the follow-up day for live streaming if I can't do it on Saturdays. And the official live streaming will be Saturdays at 10 p.m. on Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time. Depends on where you're coming from. And with that, let's jump right into our first monster. We had this one requested through, I think, possibly TikTok. I don't recall who requested it, but there was no request for, their names or anything. So we have the Were-Raven from Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. And I've already opened it up here on the right, and we'll just jump right into it. So we have the Were-Raven, a medium humanoid shape changer. Again, this book doesn't include alignments, so that's probably something that they're looking at getting rid of. And the Were-Raven has 12 AC coming from its dexterity bonus, is medium, as I suggested before, and has 7d8 hit dice with a constitution score of 11, giving us no bonus. And we won't need wisdom or charisma for this. The expected CR for the Were-Raven should be a CR2 as it's printed in the book. Oh man, my cat is drinking water from a potted plant. Jeez. Okay. So with that out of the way, we have a couple different things here for its speed, which doesn't matter, but it's good to look at. We have 30 feet in humanoid form, 10 feet and 50 feet for its raven form, and 30 feet, 50 feet for its hybrid form. So if it's not in humanoid form, more than likely hybrid form is going to be the better bet because you can still move on land and fly at quite a good speed. After that, we'll move down into the skills section and see that we have absolutely nothing to worry about here in the skills for our Were-Raven. And we'll just move right down into the monster traits. Now the monster traits, first off, we have mimicry. And mimicry just allows the Were-Raven to just mimic anything it hears. Fun for role-playing purposes, doesn't help us for the CR2 check. So we can skip over mimicry since it has no effect on the monster, and we can go down to regeneration. Now this will take an effect as the Were-Raven will gain plus 10 hit points at the start of its turn. If it takes damage from various factors, then the regeneration stops. But in this case, we're going to expect it to get every round of regeneration. So we'll go ahead and add it into the tool. For regeneration of a example of the troll, getting 10 per round and an effective plus 30 hit points for the first 3 rounds of combat. Bumping the Were-Raven's hit points from 31 to 61 effectively over those 3 rounds as I suggested. Shifting over to the right column, we'll see that we have nothing left for the monster traits for the Were-Raven, and we can move right into the actions that it has to deal with here. So we have a multi-attack, and we have a +4 to hit. So we'll go ahead and switch the +3 to +4, and then take a look at everything else in the workspace section here. So we have a multi-attack of humanoid or hybrid forms only, and the Were-Raven can make 2 weapon attacks, one of which can be with its hand crossbow. So we have beak, short sword, hand crossbow, and change shape for the actions. Now normally in the past, change shape, I believe, was in the monster traits. It kind of flip-flops back and forth between monsters and different books. But for all intents and purposes, the shape change is where it's supposed to be in its actions. So then we'll take a look first at the beak attack that it has in the raven or hybrid form, followed by the short sword and hand crossbow. Now the beak will deal 1 piercing damage in raven form or 4.5 piercing damage in hybrid form. So let's go ahead and add in the 4.5 for the hybrid form, and then the humanoid or a target must succeed on a con saving throw or be cursed with Were-Raven lycanthropy. Maybe not such a bad thing. Who knows? If you can turn into a flying Were-Raven, that might be fun to have. The second attack is with its short sword, and the short sword is, let's see here, humanoid or hybrid form again. So if your Were-Raven is in hybrid form, you can use the beak or the short sword, and deals 5.5 points of damage. After that, we would just go down to the hand crossbow, and we'll see that the hand crossbow will deal 5.5 damage as well. So on average, we have about 5 damage per round from the Were-Raven. I mean, if we look at the first attack of the beak in hybrid form, we have 4.5. Technically, we're supposed to round down, so that would be a 4. But, you know, between the 3 attacks that it can do, we're looking at somewhere around a 5. And then lastly, we have Change Shape, which, again, won't help. Lost my train of thought there. Won't help the monster's CR values at all. So the Change Shape has no effect, and we can just cancel that out. Now, going back to the multi-attack, the Were-Raven can make 2 weapon attacks, one of which can be with its hand crossbow. So considering that the beak is considered a melee weapon attack, we could use the beak or the short sword in combination with the hand crossbow. It doesn't really matter at this point, and we'll just take the short sword and we'll say the hand crossbow and just multiply it by 2. It doesn't really matter at this point. So we get an average of 11 attacks, we get an average of 11 damage for the multi-attack. And then lastly, there's nothing else for our Were-Raven to do, so we'll just use the multi-attack for all 3 rounds of combat, and for the purposes of this form here, we'll just multiply this by 3, and then the full attack averages out back to 11. Unless I've missed something, let's take a look here. We didn't have anything here. Regeneration, +4 to hit. So the Were-Raven is rated at CR2 in the book. I've found a CR1. If we look back at its defenses here, we have 61 effective hit points and an AC of 14, was it? 12. Yes, so we have lower AC than expected. So let's take a look at this real quick. We have 61 effective hit points, gives us a CR1/2. The AC is expecting 13, but the Were-Raven has an AC of 12, and therefore there's going to be no shift because it's only 1 difference. So our DCR for the Were-Raven is a 1/2. After that, we have 11 average damage per round, which will put us into an OCR range of 1, expecting attack bonus of 3. The Were-Raven only has an attack bonus of 4, therefore there's no shift again because there's only 1 difference here. So we're stuck with an OCR of 1 and a DCR of 1/2. That will total out to be 1.5. When we average that out, we get a 0.75 or 3/4, and we round to the closest CR numbers, which in this case would either be 1 or 1/2. I always take actual mathematical rules and round up unless, it indicates that it needs to be rounded down. So this is where the chart or the tool is giving us a CR1 for. So we have an overrated Were-Raven at CR1 due to this. So how can we fix this? More than likely, the easiest thing would probably be to add in probably 1 more attack in the multi-attack here, because we need to get over 14 points of damage here. We need to hit 15. The easiest way might be to just add in 1 more damage or 1 more attack. So if we add in the 4.5 or the 5.5, we should be good here. Let's add in the 4.5 and see if that does anything. Sure enough, that puts us into 15 like we need, and that'd be on the low end of the OCR2. But the problem is because we have a DCR of 1/2, we're still not hitting that CR2 range like it's printed in the book. So instead, we could add in a 4th attack, and this Were-Raven could be quite the slice and dice or striker style, which may be what they were looking for from the Were-Raven, and just have very low hit points considering the idea of the fact that it's a bird, it's a werebird, and when you think of birds, they generally don't have a lot of hit points. So we could do one of 2 things. We could add in another multi-attack And just for the heck of it, let's say times 2 on the beak attack. And then we hit, let's see here, 20 damage for that, but we're only on the high end of an OCR 2, so we need to go even further. The next best thing would probably be to increase the attack bonus. So let's take a look at that instead. Let's go back to our 2 attacks for the multi-attack instead of 3 that we had. And instead, let's update the attack bonus on our monster here. And the attack bonus is coming from its dexterity. So if we up this to, let's just say, dexterity 16, this will increase the armor class from 12 to 13, which won't shift the DCR at all. And then we can update the attack bonus to a +5 because of the +2 proficiency bonus for being in CR2. And then on top of that, we get from the dex of +3. So this will move up to a 5, and we should see some change. Okay, the OCR only shifts up to a CR, or excuse me, the OCR only shifts up to a 2, and then we still are stuck at our CR of 1 because of the low DCR rating. So let's go back in and add in that multi-attack again of, for the lowest part, the beak attack. And now we found a CR2 Were-Raven. So the Were-Raven needs a little bit of adjustment here of an extra dexterity bonus from 15 to 16. And that will increase its armor class just a little bit. Increases the attack bonus and the damage, actually. The damage would go up 1 point each. And switch these from 455 to 566. So let's see if that does anything, just to be on the safe side. No, I want 5.5, 6.5, and 6.5. So even with the dexterity going up by 1 more point, adding in 1 more point of damage on all of these attacks, giving it 1 more multi-attack of 2 to 3, and then also increasing the dexterity somewhat, we finally have a CR2 Were-Raven, even though it was printed and we found a CR1. Grimboy, hello! Finally caught a stream as it's starting. I'm currently looking at the Were-Raven at the moment. It was requested by someone, I don't remember where, and initially I had found a CR1 Were-Raven. So I was going through some quick fixes, and the quick fix is basically to increase the dexterity from 15 to 16 and to also give it an extra multi-attack of, anything. So 3 weapon attacks instead of 2. And that's fixing the Were-Raven. All right, let me go back. Oh, yeah, okay, excellent. Well, there you go. Sadly, I didn't catch you right at the beginning, but if you watch the recap, which will be later on in the week, you'll get to see the whole thing. Yes, 2 streams ago, I have, as you can see here, a bit of a backlog. So I know the ones I've already looked at, like Unigu, Kraken. There's one from the Google form I got to look at, and then some other ones. So I'm getting to them. Unfortunately, it took some time, but at least you were here to catch the tail end of your request. And like I said, it'll be the live stream recap on Wednesday, so that'll be there. Let's see here. Let me go back to, actually, yeah, I gotta go back to this. I'm gonna reset some stuff. Okay, and there. All right, good. So initially it was a DCR 1/2, OCR 1, and a 1. So I need to take notes of that. What creatures am I doing today? Well, like I said, I just finished the Were-Raven, which should be a 2, but I found a 1. After that, I was probably going to look at the sprite. Someone had requested the sprite. And then I also have the Spectator, although that one might need more time because it's a mini beholder. And then after that, it was just going to be random unless someone popped in to request something. So if you got something, Grimboy, that you'd like to see, taking a look at, I'd be more than happy. If it's, something homebrew or custom and it's on the internet, just send me a link and I will definitely look at that too. Okay, so you definitely looked at the... All right, so I can definitely try and look at the spectator then. Once I take care of my notes here real quick. Might take some time because of the eye rays, but we'll give it a shot. Let's see here. Where, Raven? Where are you hiding? Okay. 1/2, 1 and 1. That was overrated. Quick fix. Dex 16. Multi-attack 3. Oh, darn it. All right. So, spectator then. Let's take a look at the spectator. Might take me some time, who knows. Monster manual. There you are. What does that say for spectator? 30. Oh, all right. Oh, probably because it's in the holder section. How about Zardarok's Sunblade? Do you know what book that's from? Or is it something like a homebrew custom made or something? The main Duergar Big Bad. Alright, give me a minute. Oh, Icewind Dale. Okay. Yeah, I can do that one too. Let's see here. I should have the book. Throw that in there. Let's see if I can find it. Alright. I don't know if there's any kind of a index on this. Let's see here. Sunblight. Would that pop anything? Alright, you got Yetis, Walrus, Marauders, Tomb Tapper, page 287. Thank you. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's take a look at this. This is a good good stat block. Cool. All right, and throw that on here. Icewind Dale. Rhyme of the Frost Maiden. And they should be a 5. Cool. Thank you for the help, Grimboy. Appreciate it. Alright, let's reset this. Alright, let's see. Zardarok Sunblight, a Duergar. Medium humanoid with 16 AC. 11d8 hit dice, a constitution bonus of 18, and should be a CR5. Alright, next we have skills section here. We have 2 saving throws, but because it's 2, we don't need to worry about that, since there's not going to be any bonus to that. We do have damage resistances to poison, but because it's only 1 condition, we're going to ignore damage resistances for the time being, and we can skip right down into the monster trait section. So it's nice and quick there. And we have Duergar Resilience. Zardak has advantage on saving throws against poisons, spells, and illusions, as well as to resist being charmed and paralyzed. Alright, so because of the spells, and especially illusions and whatnot, I'm going to say this is basically the same as magic resistance, just with a bunch of extra riders. And because of the advantage, it will get a +2 effective AC bonus for the Duergar Resilience. And we can move down into innate spellcasting. They have, let's see here, Eldritch Blast, see actions below, Mage Hand, Hold Person, and Suggestion. Alright, question is, what spell level is Hold Person at? Suggestion may be handy as well. Let's see here. I need to grab my player's handbook. Oh, it's one of those deals again. Darn it. Okay, manuals. And player's handbook. Alright, let me go down to the spellcasting section. Let's see here. Let's see here. So, Grimboy says, this guy was a really fun boss fight when we fought him in my Icewind Dale game. I'm a player in that one. Cool. What class and race did you play for the character in that campaign? Let's see here. Hold Person. I believe that's what I was looking for. Yes. Hold Person. And where are you hiding? Hold Person is a level 2, so that's only going to be 12 effective DPR. And then we also have Suggestion. Let's see. Kraken modified Eldritch Knight. Oh, cool. Now, what did you have to do with modifying the Eldritch Knight for the Thri-Kreen? Suggestion. That's also a level 2. Okay. So those are both worth roughly 12 effective DPR. I wanted to be an Eldritch Knight, but also play off of Thri-Kreen Psionics. Oh, okay. So basically then all of the magic that the Eldritch Knight would do more or less just did psychic damage instead. Alright, and then continuing on, because we only have roughly 12 points of damage, and Zardok is a CR 5, so Eldritch Blast should be a little higher. We'll skip down to Sunlight Sensitivity, and we'll know that that has no effect on Zardock, and we can skip over into the action section here. And Zardock has a +6 to hit, so we'll switch that up there. And they have a multi-attack of, let's see here, twice with a weapon or cast Eldritch Blast twice. Cool. So I modified Eldritch Knight from Wizard Evocation and Illusion to Sorcerer Transmutation and Abjuration. Oh, interesting. That sounds perfectly logical to do. How did it work out for you? Did you enjoy playing it with the modifications? I mean, sounds like you probably did. But, you know, I'd like to get your take on it. Excuse me. Alright, so Spiked Gauntlets. Let's see here. First attack. Spiked Gauntlets is... What are we doing here? 5.5 damage or 8.5 or 8 damage if enlarged. Eldritch Blast will deal 9.5. And then we have Enlarge. And this is a feature over here. So for 1 minute, Zardock magically increases in size along with anything he is wearing or carrying. While enlarged, Zardock is large, doubles his damage dice on strength-based weapon attacks included in his attack, and makes strength checks saves with advantage. Alright, so then let me double check here. This creature magically increases in size along with anything he's wearing or carrying. Input the extra damage inflicted per round whilst enlarged. Population growth. Hi. Thanks for joining the live stream. I see you found me via the shorts, which is pretty much how most people find me, I think. Thanks for joining the live stream. We're actually currently looking at Zardock Sunblight from Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden. It was Grimboy's request. And Grimboy, you are level 7 right now in the campaign. Cool. That's a great section from what I understand. And, I mean, I think it was like levels 5 to 10 is such a great area for everyone. You hit some really great spells and abilities and whatnot. Back to population growth. Thank you for joining again. Really awesome to see you here. And if you have any requests that you'd like to see for monsters exposed while we're here live, throw it in chat and I will get to it once we're done. All right. The only attack that's really affecting this Duergar is going to be spiked gauntlets. So let's go ahead and switch that from the 5.5 to 8. So that will take care of the enlarge. We don't have to worry about that. And then invisibility. Zardock magically turns invisible until he attacks. He casts a spell, uses his enlarge, or his concentration is broken. Now, if I remember correctly, invisibility, I believe, is a level 1 spell. And that should only be worth 10 effective damage per round. So just to verify, invis, let's see here. Invisibility, oh, it's a level 2 spell. All right, so that would be worth roughly 12 effective DPR. So he's got a lot of level 2 spells here, or level 2 worth. Do you DM or play most of the time? I DM a lot, if you're talking to me, population growth. I have 2 campaigns. I've taken a sabbatical from one at the moment. There was some stuff I needed to take care of, and I'm hoping to get back into my second campaign, which is my primary campaign, with some of my closer friends in the area. I usually play on Tuesday nights with them. I also have a second campaign with some other friends and his friends, and we play on Sundays in the afternoon. What about yourself? Oh, and I do play, but I'm generally more than likely a DM. I do enjoy playing when I can get a chance, because I have so many like concepts of characters I'd like to play. What about both of you? Do you either of you DM, or are you mainly just players? All right, so back to Zardarok. Invisibility may be handy, but it's going to take an action, and it could be worth 12 effective DPR, but may not be necessarily worthwhile for anything. So at the moment, the most attacks, or the most damage that Zardarok can get would be 2 Eldritch Blasts. It's going to do the most damage here. So we'll take that and multiply that times 2, giving us 19 total damage for the multi-attack. And then if Zardarok is able to just do that all the time, then we're looking at 19 times 3, and we are looking at, it looks like, oh wait, I forgot about the Hellish Rebuke. So far we're at a CR 4 at the moment. We also have a Hellish Rebuke to take a look at for the reactions. And when Zardarok is damaged by a creature within 60 feet of him that he can see, the creature then obviously will take some damage. So we can do this 2 times a day. And what I'm going to do is, instead of doing it like this, I'm going to do 19 here, 19 here, and 19 there as well. Actually, I'm going to just copy this from round 1. So what's going to happen is on round 1, we're going to add in the 16 points of damage for the Hellish Rebuke, because we can do it 2 times a day, which will up the overall damage for those 2 rounds for Zardarok, pushing Zardarok to 29 average damage. And then when we look back here, we also have Eldritch Blast at +7 to hit, so I need to modify that real quick. And now we have a CR5 Zardarok Sunblight. Zardarok is only a CR5 when he is casting Eldritch Blasts from range and getting those Hellish Rebukes in. If he's not, and he's not casting, let's see here. Let's see what happens if we don't do that instead. Let's go with melee instead for the spiked gauntlets. And yeah, that's what I expected. So if Zardarok is not able to Eldritch Blast every round of combat and is still not getting the Hellish Rebukes in, he's going to drop down to a CR4. So this dude is going to be a bit easier to defeat because he has very specific conditions that he needs to meet in order to do Eldritch Blast all the time. And the fact that he only gets 1 invisibility, technically 50% of the time, 4 through 6 to recharge, the invisibility is probably only going to be useful in order to get him out of the way of being attacked by the players, and then get into range so he can start casting Eldritch Blast again. Grimboy says, currently I'm a DM in 2 and a player in 2. Wow. I thought I was doing a bunch of D&D. So you got 4 games going on right now, Grimboy? How do you manage all of that? I mean, I've got a lot of other stuff going on in sadly, that I can't get to play as much as I would like. But that's a lot of going on. And population growth says, in my group's forever DM. That's unfortunate, population growth. Do you have anyone in your group that is even slightly interested in DMing? It would probably be great to give yourself a break. You don't want to burn out. I know if let's see here. I manage it by playing 2 games a day on weekends. Ooh, yeah, that is a full weekend. Oh man, there you go. Are you playing usually like back to back? Yeah, that's what I was expecting, Grimboy. Do you let me think. What was my question? Yeah, how long do you play for? Is it 3-hour sessions, 5-hour? I mean, how long do you play in your games? What about you too, population growth? How long do your sessions go for? Don't do that, cat. Let's see here. A lot of parties have overlapping players. That's good. That definitely helps. And around 3 hours sessions each. Yeah, that's more or less what I aim for with my groups. We usually play on Tuesday nights from 6 to 9 with my friends, and then my Sunday group is 2 to 5. So it really helps get a decent amount of game time in, but not too much because, you know, being an adult, I have, unfortunately, other things I have to do as well, like working on videos for the channel. Sundays are very busy for me. All right, let me take a note here about Zardarok and see that we found the CR5, but in very strict circumstances here. And where did I mess up? I gotta put some things. Oh, that's what I did here. Okay. All right. So that would be 455. Eris, let's see here. Thank you for joining. Why a Darkling CR1/2 kills a level 1 player? Darklings. Good question. Have I done? Don't chew on the plants, cat. Please don't. No, come on. I will take a look at Darklings right after this. Let me take my notes for this character. Excuse me a moment. Sunblight evaluated. So we had 455 even and needs to be at range, otherwise CR4. Okay. Darklings. What book were they from? I think it's... No, it's Volos? I think it's Volos, right? Grimboy says, I'm a player in Icewind Dale and Storm King's Thunder, and I'm a DM for a Ravenloft game and a Wildmount game set in the Feywild. Cool, those sound fun. I have only tried one official campaign. Everything else has been custom with me and my friends. Thank you, Grimboy. And then population growth says mine are usually online with people in 3 different time zones, so like 2 hours. Yeah, that's something that I've got going on. My cousin in my Tuesday night game moved states, and he's a time zone behind now. I don't know about my Sunday games. I think my Sunday games were all in the same time zone, just different countries. All right, Darklings. Those Guide to Monsters, and they're supposed to be a 1/2, I believe. All right, let me grab that book quick. Volo's Guide to Monsters. Bestiary. And should be here. Darklings. Perfect. Oh, that's a deep scion. Okay. No. There they are. Perfect. Actually just used Darklings in a campaign, in my Sunday campaign. Probably didn't use them as they're supposed to be printed, but it worked in my campaign setting. Well, population growth, thank you for stopping by. It was really, I appreciate you stopping in and chatting for a little bit and watching the exposing live. Yes, I am always having fun streaming, and just if you just to be aware, I'm switching my streaming days from Monday nights to Saturdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So, unless something happens again, I will be streaming again this Saturday, and then officially Saturdays, unless I need to cancel my Saturdays because I might be doing something. But thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you next time. All right, back to the monsters. Let's see here. Grimboy. Saturdays, I got the 2 games I DM in person, and Sundays, I have the 2 games I play online. Well, that works. At least then you don't have to worry about, shuffling around too much, like having 1 game online and 1 in person. That'd be problematic. All right, my tool is reset, and we're looking at the Darkling, a small fae with 14 AC. Again, it is a small creature with 3d6 hit dice and a constitution bonus of 12. Should be a 1/2. Let's see here. Ooh, that is... Come on, stupid mouse. All right, and now that the base stats are out of the way, let's take a look at its skills section. We have a bunch of skills, which is very handy for RPing and whatever else you need your Darkling to do. But in terms of working out the challenge rating of 1/2, doesn't help, doesn't do anything. Everything else we don't care about, so let's move down into the monster traits section. Now we have Death Flash. When the Darkling dies, non-magical light flashes out from it in a 10-foot radius, and will end up blinding creatures until the end of the creature's next turn. Let's take a look at this, because this is technically a spell effect, like the blind spell, and could be worth some effective damage per round, because blind can be pretty terrible. So let's see if we can find blind. Come on, there we go. And I need, where am I at? Blinding Smite, blindness and deafness. Okay, so blindness is technically a level 2 spell. You can blind or deafen a foe. Choose 1 creature, they make a save. So this is effectively hitting 2 targets and could be worth 12 effective DPR. And if you're wondering why I'm saying effective DPR, I went through all the spells that do damage, averaged them out, and came up with roughly somewhere around effective damage per round based on spells that don't actually do damage. So for level 2 spells, if you average out all of the base damage you can cast at level 2, it works out to be around 12 damage effectively. I'm wondering if it's supposed to be about 20, because a lot of spells are hitting close to 20. Haven't quite worked out if, a CR1 should be, or a level 1 spell should be 10, a level 2 spell should be 20 effective DPR, level 3 spell should be 30, and so on up the line, except for like level 9 spells, which the average was 111. So in essence, the wrong item here. Go back to this. The Death Flash may be worth 12 effective damage per round. And let's just put that in for the Death Burst, because, this is what happens when it dies. So we'll look at this, and it might come into consideration, it might not, but who knows, we'll see what happens. It might just be all based off the damage itself. Next, after Death Flash, we have Light Sensitivity. This, I know right off the bat, has no effect on the CR, so we can just skip over that. And then the Darkling has a dagger attack. +5 to hit, which is much higher than expected for its range, and would be dealing 5.5 damage per round. So I'm just going to put that right into the DPR here. All right. Right now we're looking at a CR1, but that's because of the Death Burst of Death Flash. So let me untick that. And we actually have a CR1 quarter. That's curious. Oh, wait, I missed something here. In the dagger. If the Darkling has advantage on the attack roll, the attack deals an extra 7.5 or 7 piercing damage. All right. We need to take that into consideration. We're going to think that every attack that the Darkling has is going to be at advantage for some reason. So, if we consider that, we are looking at 12 damage per round. And then we'll switch that up. And actually, if the Darkling has advantage, this is probably going to be a CR1. So if there's always darkness and your players don't have dark vision, or they're sneaking around because of their high stealth, this is probably why the Darkling was able to kill someone there, Eris. Plus, it's level 1. Level 1 is terrible. If it's marked as a challenge rating of 1/2, if we use Volo's guide to not Volo's guide, excuse me, Xanathar's guide to everything for encounter building, we should see some things there. Let's see here. Catching up on chat. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Grimboy says, oh yeah, I gave my level 7 players an item that casts a level 9 spell. Oh no, but only once. Oh man. So you got like a get out of jail free card for them. Why not have it on the first attack and have it simulate like a starting sneak attack? Yeah, that would definitely be a case too. More than likely they would be stealthed. So we could switch that around a little bit. So let's go back to 5. And we'll say it's something like, what was it? Not Ambusher. There's one in here that only does it on the first round of attack. Surprise attack with Bugbear. So let's say with surprise attack, and we'll add in the 7 there. Now we have a CR 1/2. Good call on that, Grimboy. So if the Darkling is stealthed around, sneaking, and they get the attack, then they would do, a bit of damage here. If they then back off and try to hide again by disengaging and doing no damage, we could be seeing... yeah, let's try that out too. Let's see what happens if they attack, disengage, and then attack again from stealth. So let me untick that. And I will switch this back to here. All right. So we have 5.5 here, and we have the 7 for the, more or less the sneak attack bonus. Round 1 would be this plus this. And then, oh dear, what did I do wrong? And then we'll get rid of that. Round 2 will be a 0, and then round 3 could also be the same thing again, going back and forth. So if the Darkling were then to say round 1, they attack from the shadows, round 2, they disengage, get back into the shadows, and then round 3, they attack again, we're seeing a CR 1/2 once more. Catching up on chat, let's see here. The item is Time in a Bottle. If you open it, it will either cast Time Stop on whomever opened it or cast Time Ravage on the nearest hostile creature. It's 50-50 chance for it. Oh, yeah, that Time Stop really threw me for a loop. And I'm going to have to take a look at the Archmage once more because now I have the effective DPR for Time Stop. I'm sure I can get the CR12 like it's printed. I actually have another... I have a shorts coming out later on with a monster that uses Time Stop for one of its spell castings. But that's a really cool item. A neat little bottle you gave your players there. Have they used it yet, or are they still holding on to it for like a really clutch situation? What was I going to do with the Darkling? I think that was it. All right. Oh, yeah. I wanted to look at Xanathar's guide real quick. Yeah, I'm sure they haven't used it yet. That's too powerful to use on just like nothing. Or a minor thing here. Dungeon Master tools. Let's see here. Encounter building. Perfect. All right. So the Darkling is a CR 1/2. And you have players at first level. In essence, to make a hard encounter, you should be putting 3 players up against 1 Darkling at CR 1/2. Now, if this Darkling is getting advantage on every attack somehow and gets all that extra damage, they're going to be a CR 1. And then in that case, you should be pitting 5 players at level 1 to 1 CR or to 1 of these Darklings. It's really tricky. But because we found the 1/2 a couple different ways, I would say that the Darkling is more or less correct at CR 1/2. It just depends on if you get that advantage or not. I believe the idea is that if you do round 1 attacking, round 2 disengaging, round 3 attacking again, we have the CR 1/2 based off of, the chart here. I like to build my encounters using this chart. It makes life so much simpler. Welcome back, Grimboy. Thank you for the information on your time bottle. Very interesting stuff. I may have to borrow that at some point, possibly. I don't know where I would put it, but it could be interesting enough. All right, so that is potentially why, Eris, your players or a level 1 player died to a CR 1/2. It's a little too powerful. I mean, technically, level 1 players should be equivalent to a CR 1/4 monster. It depends on the loadout and what kind of feats or skills and whatnot your characters have. And the biggest thing is going to be rolls. All right, let me take a note here for the Darkling. Okay, what did we find here? Now, if we go with this was initially what I had. I'm going to go with that because if we get the advantage every round of combat because of the rider, this could be that lethal, and that's what I'm going to go with. All right, so we have 1/8, a 2, and then potentially found a 1. So underrated, technically. Disengage every other round to stealth. Oops. To get CR 1/2. All right, good enough. The Darkling roll 20, so it was 4d6, 2d4 plus 3 damage. Oh no. Oh man. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, so the crit is what really did the damage. And if we're looking at averages for crits, we're looking at, let's see here. That would be 14 plus an additional 11 plus 3. No, I'm sorry. That would be not 11. It would be 14 plus, no, yeah, it would be, no, 5 plus 3, so 8. I'm sorry, hold on. My brain is 2.5 times 2 would be 5, plus an additional 3, so 8 plus 14 would be 22 points of damage on average for the Darkling's crit. So no wonder why your level 1 player, or if you were the level 1 character, died from a Darkling. Crits are terrible, especially at lower levels, especially level 1, with only on average, anywhere between, I'd say on average between 8 to 10 hit points for one character. Hi, Population Growth. Welcome back. Just finished up the Darkling. Technically, it could be a CR1 monster, even though it's printed at 1/2. But depending on how you use it, we can easily find a CR 1/2. And if the Darkling doesn't get advantage at all, it's a CR 1/4. So it's even lower. Really depends on how it plays out, and unfortunately what the dice do. All right. we have looked at the Were-Raven. We've looked at Zardarok Sunblight. I have Subblight for some reason. Sunblight. The Darklings. Is there anything else anyone would like to see before we finish up? We have about 15 minutes or so before we hit 7 o'clock my time, and when I usually like to end the live streams. So anyone else have a recommendation? I could take a look at the Elder Darklings, or I could look at the Sprite from the Monsters Manual, because that's going to be an easy one. How about the Spectator now? All right, let's take a look at the Spectator. It might be... It will probably end up taking the rest of the evening, but we'll take a look at it. All right, Spectator. We have a medium aberration with 14 AC, 68 hit dice, a Constitution bonus of 14, and it should be a CR3. Let's see how that works out. With the base stats out of the way, we'll move down into the skills section and find that we only have condition immunities that are moderately important, but because it's a condition, there's going to be no effect for this whatsoever, and we can skip down right into the actions because the monster has no traits to worry about. So we'll look at its actions, and we have, let's see here, its weapon attack is a +1 to hit with 5 reach and will deal 2 damage. Interesting. So I'm gonna not even bother with the bite, because the bite is not why you use a Spectator. And let's see here. My guess is it's going to be underrated. Possibly. We'll see what happens. Probably you're right, Grimboy. More than likely. So I'm going to skip the bite because that's doing absolutely nothing. And we're going to take a look at its eye rays. And I know from when I looked at it previously, the eye rays all have DC checks. And should be a DC 13. So with those inputted, let's see what we have for our first eye ray. And try and figure out some effective damage, because I think that's what we're going to end up doing here. So first off, we have Confusion Ray. The target must succeed on a DC saving throw, or it can't take reactions until the end of its next turn. On its turn, the target can't take reactions. That's interesting. On its turn, the target can't move, and it uses its action to make a melee or range attack against a randomly determined creature within range. All right, do we have Confusion in the book for spells? Contagion. We do, yes. Okay. Just got to get to it. It's a 4th level spell. Wow. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to have to go to the actual spell because it's not coming up, unfortunately. Call Lightning. Command. Commune. Compulsion. Cone of Cold. Confusion. All right. Does this only target one person? Spell assaults and twists creatures' minds, each creature in a 10-foot radius. Alright, so this is a 4th level spell for Confusion, and 4th level spells have an average effective DPR of 28. That's targeting 2. So I'm going to suggest cutting this in half and saying that the effective DPR would be 14 because it only targets one monster or one player. So I'm going to say 14 for the Confusion Eye Ray. After that, we have Paralyzing Ray, which then will target one creature. And let's see here. Or be paralyzed for 1 minute. The target can repeat the saving throw. All right. Now let's see if we can find a Paralyze. Freedom of movement. Hold monster. All right. So hold monster and hold person. All right. Well, this is a monster, and it's holding a person. So we'll go with 2nd level enchantment spell of hold person for the Paralyzing Ray. That sounds about right. So we'll say 12 for that because a level 2 spell is worth 12. And it's only targeting one person. All right, next we have Fear Ray. The target must succeed on a wisdom save or be frightened. Let's see here. Do we have Fear as a spell? Let's just go right to the Fs. I'm going to be skipping through that. Fear, perfect. CR3. Each creature in the 30. Alright, so this would target at least 2. And this is a 3. So then the effective DPR for level 3 spells is 30. And I'll cut that in half as well for 15. And we'll say that the Fear Eye Ray does an effective 15 damage per round because of that fear. Next and last is the Wounding Ray. So we actually have some damage here. The Wounding Ray, let's see here. Person makes a Constitution save or takes 16 necrotic damage on a failed save or half as much. Alright. And they can create food and water. Huh. Okay. Oops. I somehow increased that. Alright. So the last ray is the only thing that actually does some damage. Fear is 3rd level. Yes, thank you, Grimboy. I didn't check chat fast enough. And then we have one more thing to contend with, the reaction, but let's take a look at the all this here. So we have effective damage, and we also have the multi-attacks. We can only do 1, so what I'm going to suggest is the average here. Although I'm just going to do the average. I think that's probably going to be the safest route here. So let's average out all of this, and we get 14 and a quarter. When we put that into all of these, we get 14 for the full attack. Curious. Let's take a look at the reaction, because we only have a CR of 1/2 so far. Spell Reflection. If the spectator makes a successful saving throw against a spell or a spell attack misses it, the spectator can choose another creature, including the spellcaster, it can see within 30 feet. The spell targets the chosen creature instead of the spectator. If the spell forced a saving throw, the chosen creature makes its own save. If the spell was an attack, the attack roll is re-rolled against the chosen creature. Alright, so it's only against spellcasters. More than likely half the party can cast spells. We have no way of determining what kind of spells or damage is going to be happening here. So we can't really count in the spell reflection at all, unfortunately. The only thing I could think of is because... No, I wouldn't even give it, like, AC bonus. I wouldn't even do that. It's possible. Yeah, maybe. Let's just see. Well, let's see what happens. I'll give it magic resistance because of the fact that it'll reflect spells. That pushes it up to a CR1, at least. Let's see here. Just count it as a 3rd level spell, being similar to counterspell. Oh, good point, good point. Well, yeah. Alright. If we do that, let's see here. Counterspell is a 3rd level spell. It would be effective 30 DPR. Let's add in that as well. Well, it brings it up a little bit for effectiveness, but it still only gets us to about a CR1, unfortunately. Wow. This is a conundrum. I really don't know how the spectator got to a CR3. Have you fought one of these in combat before? Or had your players fight these? It seems like it's very overrated. But probably there's a lot to do with the eye rays that I just can't calculate for. Yeah. If anything, the best bet may be to just buff up the hit points. Give it a bunch of extra, bring that up. But then even then, you're going to need a load of hit points. This is a tricky one to try and balance. No, the players have one. They summoned one. Interesting. Were they summoning it to use it? Or were they trying to fight it? Grimboy. Ooh, just banged a whole bunch of stuff. Alright, I'm going to mark this as a 1/4 and 2. Actually, I'm not even sure how to go about that. Let me go back to this. I'm just going to mark this as this and give it a, I don't know, 1/4 and 1. Let's see what we got here. Back to 3. A spectator. Where are you? There you go. And unfortunately, I forgot 1/4 and 1. Spectator lore is that they are summoned to guard areas in the ritual that needs 4 beholder eye stalks. They used a book they found in the scientist NPC's library and some beholder eye stalks they bought off the black market to make one. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know how you would want to buff this, but unfortunately it needs some attention. There's something wacky going on here. The only other thing I could suggest is that maybe if I don't cut some of these in half, so for instance, fear should have been technically 30, and the confusion ray should have been 28. That only brings it up to CR2 if we use the actual spell levels, even though it's only one target. Let's see here. Let's also add in the 30 like from before. One more time. U7. Oops. What am I doing here? Stop that. Okay, wow. 23, yeah. With everything that's going on here, at maximum, we might see a CR2. So it's still a little overrated. The only other thing I could suggest is just maybe buffing up the actual damage for the wounding ray. So instead of doing, 3d10, let's suggest it as 60. Let's see here. Let's fix this real quick. We got 5.5 times 3, so let's go to 6. Wow, even upping the damage on that to something a little higher really doesn't do anything. Oh, wow. This is bizarre. I don't know. I'll increase spell save DC and the hit bonus. Add around 20 hit points and increase AC by 1. Also adding a hit die to the wounding ray. Yeah, that is a really good thing. That's a great idea, actually. Increasing the DC check here. Because the DC is coming off of what? It would be 8 plus 2 for the proficiency plus 3 somewhere. Where is the 3 coming from? I don't understand where they get these DC sometimes. Because it's supposed to be based off of base 8 plus the proficiency bonus. And the proficiency bonus for CR3 is only 2. So that brings it up to a 10. And then nothing on the stats here reads plus 3. So if it's coming from its wisdom, we would want to buff the wisdom up or something. But yeah, if we increase the... let's see here. Put that back to 3. Let's say we'll go to 15. Nope. 16, maybe? Wow, no. 17. All right. Possibly there. You would have to bring the DC check up to a 17, at least, without, updating the hit points. If we add in 20 more hit points... I'll mess with that later. Anyways, I'm gonna peace out and try to buff this guy so my players have a capable guard. Yeah. Yep. Do like you said. Increase the DC check a little bit, or the DC, and increase the hit points or the AC somewhat, and you should have a really good guard for your players. Grimboy, thanks for hanging out. Also, thanks to Eris, and let's see here. Let me do my thing and switch this to this. Because it's 7 o'clock and it's time to end the stream anyways. Thank you, Grimboy, Population Growth, Eris, for joining me tonight. And I think that's everyone. At least that was, yep, everyone that was chatting. Yeah, I should be streaming this Saturday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So if you can make it, awesome. That is more or less the new streaming time. Like I said in the beginning of the live stream, if I can't make it on Saturdays for some reason, because, well, it's Saturday and I might be doing something, it will default back to the Mondays. But Saturdays will be the official time. And thank you to everyone. So if you've made it this far in the live stream, you've been awesome. And this is me, Andrew, hoping that all of your encounters are even rated. Thank you and good night.